This week's first impressions video is on Rally Mechanics Simulator. This is the free demo that is available on Steam right now. I have been very excited for this game since I saw it announced, and then when I saw there was a free demo, I just had to play it. I have made a request for the full game upon release, so hopefully we will get that, because after playing this game for a couple of hours, I am in love. It is not perfect. There are things that do need to change and things that I would love to see added in. But for now, we're going to go through the options and then I'll show you some of the gameplay. At first glance, the options don't actually look all that fantastic, but once you really dive into them, you'll see that it is a very well fleshed out options menu. The basic graphic settings give you VSync, anti-aliasing, frame limit, your display mode, which does start on full screen windowed, and your resolution. Dive into the advanced graphic settings, however, and you are treated to a glorious display of many options. You have screen space, illuminations, reflections, motion blur on or off, chromatic aberration, volumetric lighting, SSAO, shadow quality, dynamic shadows, vehicle shadows, sunlight depth, bloom, texture quality, and vignette. What I will say is that the motion blur actually isn't all that bad. I didn't even notice that it was on, which is pretty good considering. You've then got your gameplay settings, which allows you to have auto assembly switch. Units, you can change between the metric or imperial. Your part outline thickness, I really like the fact they've added this in, because one of the big problems I had with Car Mechanics Simulator is that the lines were really thick and quite obtuse. They were quite in your way. Run in the background, that doesn't seem to work very well. You alt tab even in windowed mode and the screen will minimize, although this sound does continue to run in the background. It is also worth noting that the music is on a loop, so there's not like a continuous music setting or many different tracks. It just plays on a loop, and there is a sort of section where the music kind of stops, which isn't really ideal. Notifications, show FPS, show key hints, and your language. A really nice set of gameplay settings here with a little bit of accessibility in there as well. The camera settings, you can change the FOV, the mouse sensitivity, the camera sensitivity. You can have head bob on or off, auto zoom on or off, invert or your horizontal or vertical axes as well. Really nice camera settings here, really robust all around. And then your music, you've got your main volume, your effects volume, your music volume, your commentary volume, and your ambient volume. You might want to turn the commentary volume up just a little bit, and it does start the main volume at 75 and everything else at 50. I have turned the music volume up for the purpose of this video. Overall, this is a really solid menu, and it's got pretty much everything I would request. The only thing that I would like to see is maybe a different color setting for your parts. The green and the yellows and things, they do look quite similar, so if you suffer from color blindness, that could be a problem. But other than that, it's generally pretty awesome. One thing I will say is if you play a lot of games with a wheel, I'm noticing this more and more. The wheel takes over, and whilst you can move around freely, the camera is constantly pointing downwards. It took me a while to work out what was actually going on. So again, if you do use a wheel, you are going to have to disable or unplug that to play this freely and be able to move the camera. Outside of that, though, I really don't have anything bad to say about this options menu. It is pretty damn fantastic. So what do you get in the demo? You actually get quite a bit of freedom, and you get a fair bit of content. Like, I was playing this for a good 2 hours earlier. It's not perfect. There were some issues that I had, but outside of general things that I would like to see added in the game on full release, the demo version comes with 2 different courses, one that is a 1 service stage and one that's got 2, and you do have to change the car setup for that, and it generally just lets you look around the building and the area and the car. You can pretty much strip the car in the garage completely, which is really kind of cool. The car it starts you with is this one. I believe it is based more off the Subaru than the Mitsubishi, but I could be wrong. And as you can see, it's very similar to Car Mechanic and Bike Mechanic Simulator. This is made by the developers of Bike Mechanic Simulator, not Car Mechanic Simulator, so there are some things that are a little bit different to how that runs. But you have free mobility. You can walk around and you can see all of the different area. Obviously, when the full game comes out, I'm hoping that this will essentially open up and you'll be able to extend and make it better and get more cars and things. It doesn't really show you how you can do that yet, but you have all of your repair tools and things here that you're going to need to be able to get the car ready for each different stage. If you press your right mouse button, you can then see your little circle wheel here. So you've got your test mode, your service mode, your parts inventory of everything you own, your parts shop, your car status, assembly and disassembly. Go to your parts shop, you can see here that you can access the main shop, car body, tires, interior and rims, but you can't access plates, you can't access tuning, you can't access car body tuning, and you can't access additional parts yet. I am very excited for this, namely the tuning and the additional parts. Like, very, very excited to see what they're going to do here. I love the artwork on this. The main shop is still pretty robust, although you're really not going to be encountering too many of the issues that you're going to need everything for the car. And then you've obviously got your car body again. You're not going to need anything too extensive. It's all your standard stuff. And you also have access to the tires. Again, you've only got 4 available right now. I don't know if they're going to be adding more in for the full game release, different brands and things, which would be kind of cool to see. Your interior, you literally just get your 2 driver's seats and your steering wheel. Again, I don't know if more is going to be added on the full game. And then your rims. Again, you only get 3 different types. You got your track star, which is for your asphalt, your gravel god, which is obviously for your gravel, and then I think the Petrino is for both, like it's a hybrid, if you're doing a hybrid stage, which you don't actually get to do in the demo. So a fair amount of customization already and things that you can change. You can literally look around the car as much as you like. And again, with the full moving camera, it's really, really nice and easy to do. The graphics on this are incredible. Everything looks really smart and shiny and nice. And obviously, as things get battered and bruised, you see different cosmetic damage for the car and things like that. What's really nice with these games is that it won't let you take something off that you're not allowed, and it won't let you put things back on until you've got everything else in its place. For example, if I try taking the brake disc off right now, you can see that the tire goes red because I have to take the tire and the wheel off first. It works pretty much the same as every other mechanic game that I've ever played. You take it off in order, you can then look. What is cool about this though is that you can remove certain things in sets and then take it apart and repair it later. For example, the brake set here comes off as a set, so if you hit the brake disc over the calipers, you can then actually just remove the entire thing, which is really, really nice and very time consuming, or rather time saving, because when you're on the rally stage, that's going to matter, and I'll show you that now. So once you're in the game and you've started your rally and you've gone through to your thing, you have a really unique thing to this simulator. You are on a team and you have to repair the car. You've got to repair the car quickly. If you look at the very top of the screen, you'll see you've got the time to look out your car, and the second you do anything on the car, that timer counts down. If you don't fix everything within that time limit, then you start gaining a penalty. So it doesn't stop you, it carries on, and it just keeps going up. Now, this is where one of the biggest problems with this game comes in, and that is because the detection is not the best, right? So one of the biggest problems I've found with this is when you get an air leak. So you go here to test, and then you can, you know, test certain things, but not everything is testable. So for example, I can't examine the blow-off pipe, so I've just got to kind of guess there. And I can check all of these, and then it will go green or red. If they go red, then it's a problem. So they're probably the 3 there that I've got to do, right? Which means that the air filter is probably the next one. But if you can't find that, because so many parts you can't examine, it makes it incredibly difficult to try and figure out what's wrong with the actual engine or what's wrong with anything. So you can hear a whizzing sound from under the hood, so I've got to try and find what that whizzing sound is, which will be the intercooler. And then I don't know what else it's going to be unless it's like the fans or anything. It would be a bit nicer if there was more in your inventory for the demo for you to be able to actually check stuff. A lot of them require, like, you know, your OBD scanner to check and things like that. So you don't know if that's what's actually causing the whizzing sound. And it makes diagnostics incredibly hard, especially when you're trying to find what is actually wrong with the engine and stuff. And it's a bit of a problem. Like, some of the things you can very easily see here, look, where there's damage and things, but if you don't know where roughly to look, you're going to have a really hard, really bad time of it. Now, obviously, when you're playing the game, when the game's fully come out, then it's not going to be as bad, because you're going to be able to sort of level up and get your different scanners and your different testers and things like that, which is going to make life a lot easier for you to sort of discover everything. But for now, the hardest part to try and find in this entire thing is definitely when there's a whistling or something wrong with the engine, because it is so tightly compact. You only get 8 minutes to change everything, and you don't know what the problem is a lot of the time. So you're kind of left with the option of just putting it back together and hoping for the best, or genuinely using all of your time to try and figure out what's wrong. That's really the only problem I've had with this game, is diagnostics have been an absolute nightmare. It's not too bad when you're on the wheels and things, because it's pretty simple, but anything that's engine based, especially if it's like under the car, for example, like your steering rack here is obviously a problem, and then your inner tie rod, but that's nothing to do with the engine. Now, luckily, I have actually found everything. So we haven't found everything at all, sorry. We've got the air system. So I'm assuming it might be the turbo, but I don't know. Per se, it's a bit... It doesn't really do a very good job of telling you or helping you. Now, with it whizzing, it should be the turbo, but I don't know. Other than that, I absolutely adore the fact that the timer does give you a bit of a warning, right? It gives you that sense of urgency to try and get everything done. But at the same time, you're going to probably want to take away the entire engine and just have a look and see what everything sort of is and what it's doing, because it doesn't really allow you to do proper diagnostics in 8 minutes. Now, obviously, if you're a real life mechanic, you're going to be able to find these sorts of things a lot quicker, and you're going to be able to work it out and stuff, right? But for this, I'm just going to have to strip the car down and hope for the best, and I'm going to get a penalty as a result. That really is my only issue. I think we found it. Look. Found it with the throttle. One of the nice things is you don't need to level up to be able to repair everything like you do in Car Mechanic Simulator. You can literally find and repair everything that you need to, which is really, really nice. And each thing has a mini game. But again, you want to be as quickly as possible because you are running it against the clock. I love this game. I really, really do. And I hope that with the fact that you can level up, you can really delve into it and make your life a little bit easier and learn a little bit more about how cars work and stuff. It's obviously not a one-to-one comparison. It's not going to teach you the inner workings of every car ever. But I can see some cars being easier to work on, some cars being quite hard to work on, and I really like that. I really like the whole sort of way around it, and I love the fact that it does test you and you are against the clock and there is pressure there, and it's a lot of fun. I find it incredibly stimulating, and I can see that when the full game comes out, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this. One of the other things that I would like to see added, by the way, is a screen here for you to actually see the races as they go on. At the minute, that's not what happens. At the minute, you get a little bar on the bottom of your screen when the cars are essentially racing, and a commentator that sort of guides you through what's happening. It's not the best. It can leave you just sort of twiddling your thumbs because it doesn't take up a lot of the screen. So maybe a screen showing the actual race and some crashes, and so you can see what's happening, might also give you a better indication of where to look in the car when you see. Because if you see the accident happening, you know roughly where you're going to be looking for and what you're going to be looking for. So that would be something I'd like to see to add. for the main game as well. But otherwise, this demo is fantastic. It's free to try on Steam. Let me see what you think in those comments down below. And thank you very, very much for watching. Ciao, ciao.